Good evening people and welcome to my workshop. Tonight's objective is getting this stack of parts into this case, preferably without the use of an hydraulic press. Now if you just want to see an assembly montage of the whole thing, here's the timecode for you. If you want to hear the whole story in excruciating detail, then stay a while and listen.
Let's look at the case. It's just a standard piece ordered from Amazon. It's actually very affordable for a small form factor case, but it's missing two things. Mounting hardware, which we choose to fix with some 3D printed parts, and ventilation, which we choose to fix with some good old-fashioned angle grinding. As for the theme of the build, militaristic is the obvious choice. Since 3D printed parts are generally not associated with the military, we will try to make them look like painted steel, just like the outside of the case. To give it a bit of character, we added some weathering and blemishes to make it look like it has seen a few years of service. Let's take a look at the hardware that will go inside. The boring stuff first. Some CPU with decent gaming performance that was on sale at the time. Some low profile memory, a selection of M.2 and 2.5-inch SSDs, and a reasonable SFX modular power supply. Let's not forget the CPU heatsink and a few low profile fans. Now the pieces that require some more thought. For mainboard we wanted something with enough USB ports on the I/O and integrated Wi-Fi and Bluetooth in the form of an E-key M.2. Restricting the choice to ones without an integrated I/O shield and with no M.2 slots on the back of the board. The GPU was basically the most powerful thing that would still fit. From the pictures this one looks like the shroud overhangs the card by a bit, and that gives us exactly the dimensions we need. The decision was to go with a bottom to top airflow, so we need some intake at the bottom and some feet to give it room to breathe. Placing all the I/O on the top also ensures that the system cannot run with the lid closed. With the feet on the corners, that leaves only the center line for the fans, and with the airflow focused on the middle of the case, we will mount the components in a way that the heatsinks have the best possible access to that airflow. Whatever space is left we will use for some 2.5-inch SSD mounts. I wonder how long this will take to print. And with the test pieces, and with the failed prints, help. This is one of those builds where the order of assembly is important. For example, the 8-pin EPS needs to go in before the heatsink fan is attached. The fan cannot be installed after the I/O shield. All the cables need to be attached to the mainboard before installing it, and so on. But let's focus on the weirdest part. Since the connectors for the Wi-Fi antennas stick out too far and would collide with the lid, they need to be moved or removed. That's where this custom I/O shield comes into play. It allows to mount the original antenna connectors in an indented position, thus offering enough space to keep the antennas folded away without them sticking out. Now that the mainboard is done, let's move on to the GPU. The fan and shroud as well as the slot shield are unwelcome here, so off they go. Next come another low profile Noctua with an adapter to replace the stock fan. Connect the PCI Express riser and mount everything to the carrier plate, and route the power cables in the most space-saving manner possible. Next the PSU block. The SSD just press fits into one of the slots and the PSU slides in and is held in place by the top cover. And don't forget the cutest power cable ever. It's time to bring the pieces together. First the mainboard goes into the frame with some screws, nuts and plastic washers. Next the GPU carrier slides in from the top and the riser gets connected. Now we install this cross brace, which also contains the power button. All that's left now is to place both bricks next to each other and hook up all the cables and slide it into the box. There is a piece of acrylic on the bottom. There is also a hole in the bottom of the case right where the front panel connectors are on the mainboard. Sadly, even with a reflective paint on the acrylic, the power LED is not bright enough to illuminate the whole piece of acrylic. For this to work I would need an extremely thin LED strip, so if you happen to know of such a thing, please let me know in the comments. As for thermals and noise, I would describe the thermals as okay-ish, at around 60C on the CPU and 70C on the GPU after an hour of stress testing. Noise-wise, it's audible on the load, but not annoying.
I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, leave them either down in the comments or tag me on Twitter. If you like the build but hate the face, I can't blame you. Follow me on Instagram, there will be no faces there. For the rest, like, share, subscribe, the usual. I can give you a small teaser before ending the video. The next build, it's upcoming, will be even smaller than this one. So stay tuned, stay safe out there, and have a good night.